have to eat here, or I'm gonna binge out of my mind. And pizzas, ice cream, who cares? I'm eating it. And so there was
What's
this.
that meme? What's that meme about power lifters? It's like a bodybuilder's talking to a power lifter, and the bodybuilder goes, "Wait a minute, I can eat twice the food and do half the reps. I'm in." Welcome to the Work Hard People's Podcast. I'm James, the old guy. We got the beautiful Miss Emma with us, and we have Matt Freakin Deakins, power lifter extraordinaire. We're gonna talk to him a little bit, just to let everybody know. I've been following Matt on Instagram and Facebook since I don't know, probably 2020, maybe 2020. I've been following him for a minute, and I love what he does. I mean, he's always out there. He's showing people how he does it, number one. The different things that he does, and the guy lifts some heavy stuff. So it is fun to watch. We'll throw his Instagram handle up here and stuff because he is a great follow. He gets very excited when he breaks PRs. He's a very nice guy. I've had the opportunity to communicate with him in different groups, and I mean, he's always kind to people. He's always lifting people up, and those are the type of people that we want to talk to and get to know better. So, Matt, thanks so much for coming on. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I've had a busy morning, but I'm excited to chat.
That's
The
good.
nice part about travel, doing a little interstate travel here, is my wife is the perfect passenger. She sleeps the whole time, so I can sit and get my thoughts together, get just be thinking about all these different things. I've already had like some ideas spark this morning, so we're cooking. We're cooking. Thanks for having me on.
No, our pleasure. And Emma, how are you doing this morning? I know you've had a pretty busy morning already. Yeah,
Yep, try to sell some life insurance.
every day I'm hustling.
Yep.
That's right. That's right. So, but yeah, we're very excited. And I noticed too, you're in the roofing business.
So I work for Owens Corning. Owens Corning
Uh-huh.
does the shingles insulation. They're the Pink Panther insulation.
Yeah.
So I work in supply chain at Owens Corning, actually in the third business unit there, the composites business, where it's basically fiberglass. So I work in
Okay.
supply chain in the fiberglass part of Owens Corning.
And
So
I myself, when I was trucking, I have hauled a ton of Owens Corning shingles. You
mhm.
name it, Tamco, all of them. So I'm very familiar when I saw that. So,
Yeah, and
but
Owens Corning is it's one of the staple, we'll say, companies here in Northwest Ohio.
yeah,
There's a couple of them that people know mainly, but Owens Corning is always in the top three of that list. So it's kind of nice to be work through my career and actually make it to a company that you say, oh yeah, I work for Owens Corning. Oh yeah, I know them. It's kind of
yeah.
nice
And
instead of saying, but
you're in Toledo.
yes, Toledo,
Okay.
Ohio.
Good deal. Good deal. Right up there. Almost you can almost say Michigan, right?
Yes, very close to
Very
Michigan.
close. Closer than you want to be.
Well, it's not really Michigan, it per se. It's just it's we have some issues here in Toledo, with it being kind of the hub for human trafficking. It's the
Oh yeah.
unfortunate portion of Toledo where you're up 75 and there's Canada, and 75 goes all the way to Florida.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the unfortunate international hub there that gets driving back from Cleveland on the Ohio Turnpike. There were six border patrol cars stopped, so you knew there was some activity in them going, and it's just something that's kind of become the part of, it's just a part of Toledo, and it's unfortunate, extremely unfortunate. But
Yeah, when I was traveling a lot, we actually had to go through classes to help us recognize human trafficking.
mhm.
Just because we were in all these different areas. So I've sat in many classes, and they have talked about Toledo and just those major cities along any port crossing. Buffalo's the same way, where they're doing a lot of human trafficking, and they just gave us hotlines that we could call and ways to recognize um, uh, to recognize when someone, you can tell that they may be in distress and that they may be involved in a trafficking situation. So that's very
Yes,
sad.
I would say Toledo, for the most part, it's a nice little place. It's a nice little
Yeah.
place that you just have to recognize and identify certain scenarios that can lead you in bad places. But
Yeah.
name any other, medium-sized city, right? It
Yes.
falls right into there.
That's
So,
right. That's right. So let me ask you this. So
yeah.
we talked a little bit just briefly on powerlifting. What led you to decide to powerlift?
Yes, that's very interesting. So when I started my fitness journey, we'll kind of take this little journey together here. When I
Yeah.
started my fitness journey back in 2010, I lifted through college and high school and such, but it wasn't really like a hobby. And then I got to 2010. It was like right January, I think it was January 10th of 2010. I looked myself in the mirror and said, "You are disgusting." And I couldn't stand what I was looking at anymore. So then I went on this massive journey, and 4.5 years later, I did my first physique competition. I think it was the Mr. Ohio,
Yeah.
and it was 4.5 years. I went from 280 with a 44-inch waist to 155 with a like 27-inch waist in 4.5 years. And it was bad. I was sitting up, falling asleep at 6:30. I was eating, I think the lowest I was eating was 1,400 calories. Terrible, right? And so then
Yeah.
I went on this, and I had this horrible relationship with food from then, because I was such a fat kid growing up, and you just ate and ate, and you did what you did, and you ate. And then I finally got my relationship with food figured out, but then it went the other way, where it was almost the other end of horrible relationship, where you
Yeah.
can't enjoy anything because you feel like you can't. And then, so then
Which is
I had,
also destructive, just real quick.
oh,
When you
absolutely.
crash your calories that hard, it's very destructive on the metabolism.
Right. And then, so, I did that physique show, and then I said, well, growing up, I was always into bodybuilding. I was bought Flex magazine and muscular development. My mom would always be like, "Why do you like that? That's disgusting." And, because, what do you see on the front? You see Jay
Yeah.
Cutler, you see Ronnie Coleman, you see all these big names with these big arms and veins popping everywhere. And I'm like, that's so cool.
And like zero clothes.
Exactly, exactly.
Why are you
So
looking
then
at men in their underwear?
right, right. And then,
My wife
then
says that to me all the time. She's like, "Do I have to worry about you?" I'm like, "Promise you don't."
yeah, so then I told my mom, I'm like, I'm going to do a bodybuilding competition. It's kind of a bucket list thing. So I did the physique one, and they thought it was a little weird, but yeah, it's okay, not bad. You're covered up, kind of. And then I told them I was doing bodybuilding, and they're like, "You mean with that that banana hammock thingy?" And I'm like, "Oh, absolutely, yes, 100%." So I kind of went. I did a year. I did that same show a year later, and that was quickly when I realized, like, I'm glad I did this, but this is not something I'm going to be good at. My genetics aren't good enough to be good at this. My mentality and my relationship with food was terrible. So then I switched from there, and I had gotten into some of the pitfalls that come with bodybuilding, like the substances and the performance enhancing drugs and all of that world.
Yeah.
And so then I switched out of that into CrossFit, which is a notorious natural space. We
Yeah.
don't do drugs.
Yeah.
We work hard. We do 86 wads a day, and that's how we look lean, right? So I switched kind of into that world, and it was good. It was one of those things where I was really passionate about it. I loved working out. I was doing 1 to 2 workouts a day, a strength session and a cardio CrossFit standard session. But then I got to the point where I was way too into that. I was way too, I couldn't. I still had this terrible relationship with food, where I still have to eat 2,000 calories. Never mind that I'm burning 4,000 in a day. Why am I not getting stronger? Why am I not getting leaner?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So once again, it kind of went. This isn't for me. And I said the one thing though in the CrossFit taught me was I'm good at lifting things. I'm good at squatting. I'm good at front squatting. I'm good at clean and jerks. I'm good at snatching. I'm good at all these strength things. But then tell me to go and do muscle ups and do all this other stuff and handstand walks and all. And I no couldn't get it
Yeah.
right. So that kind of led me on this, like, let's just get strong. Let's just let's do the meat and potatoes stuff, right? So then it was a couple years. I quit that in like I was a hard quit too, where I wanted nothing to do with it. And I went back to bodybuilding for a little while, just as I want to keep lifting weights, but I was swimming in this. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. time. And then I got with my coach now 2.5 years ago, and in October, and then come it was about January. They're like, "Oh, hey, there's a meet here in Indianapolis." They had a few friends that lived there. Hey, there's open spots. You should jump in and do it. I go, okay, yeah, sure, I'll jump in and do it. What the hell? And so I started, and I was like, you know what? I want a 500 squat. So I trained and I did a 500-pound squat. Bench press is my worst lift. Didn't really care at that time. Let's just hit something. And then deadlift came, and I'm like, pretty cool to have my squat and deadlift make the same. And then first lift was okay, but looked easy. And second lift came, felt good. So I went 500, hit 500. I was super happy. I'm hooked, right? So that first year, that was kind of how I got introduced to it, but I was hooked. And then I kept doing the training I do, which is a conjugate style, where we, max twice a week. So you know how strong you are twice a week in different lifts. And you usually don't repeat them, but every 6 to 8 months. Unless you're doing meets, more often than that. So then I did the next meet in May. So in February, I hit 500. I think it was 500, 315, 500. In May, I hit 515, I think 325 and 585. So all of a sudden I'm like feeling great. Like I'm hooked. And I just never looked back. I just realized I identified that I'm just really good at lifting weights and being strong.
And Matt, I had a question. So you were saying like your relationship with food, when you got more into powerlifting, did your relationship with food like start shifting? Because a lot of people think that the only negative connotation with eating is that you overeat, and that's false. Like your body needs fuel, and if you're undereating, that's just as detrimental as overeating. So at what point did you start respecting the relationship with food to nourish your body to be able to actually develop muscle and develop strength to really start taking the powerlifting seriously?
Yeah, my relationship with food got much better actually right before I went back to my coach. So I'd say it was probably in the summer of 2020, summer of 2020. I would say that I had found a spot where it's like, look, I need to eat decently, but I also can't be afraid. Like that, it was weird. It was like that 2,000 calorie number I was scared of, right? And there's no reason that at the time, me being 250, you should be thinking 2,000 calories is enough, regardless of what workouts I'm doing. Like it's ridiculous to even think about. So I kind of figured out like, look, you're going to have to eat more than that. So let's start small. Okay, so we're going to get to 2,500 calories. Now, try to be smart with it, but hit 2,500 calories. I was afraid to hit the upper limit because it was either 2,000 calories or like 5,000 calories. It was I'm going to eat nothing and just eat what I have to eat here, or I'm going to binge out of my mind and pizzas, ice cream, who cares? I'm eating it. And so
what's that meme? What's that meme about powerlifters? It's like a bodybuilder's talking to a powerlifter, and the bodybuilder goes, "Wait a minute, I can eat twice the food and do half the reps. I'm in."
Yes, and that's kind of how it was. It was very much I'm either going to have like a super low carb day and barely eat anything, or I'm eating the world. And then I kind of found this sweet spot where it's like, okay, I can, I'll call it the macro approach. I don't like using that if it fits your macros mentality, but there are times where I do it, where I'm like, you know what, I really need something sweet, and I just make it work within my numbers. But I try not to do that because that's when I go down rabbit holes and it's almost detrimental again. Because I become too, let's get creative, and I turn into freaking Bill Nye in the kitchen, and I don't know what the hell I'm making. It tastes kind of good, but what did I really just do?
Yeah.
So, it got much better. And then now it's like when I'm getting ready to compete, like I finally found myself at a sweet spot where I can hover in the 230s and I can basically eat whatever I want and, both ways and feel good and lift and be strong and actually like perform well, we'll say.
There's weight limits, right? At your
Yes.
meets, isn't there weight classes?
There are weight classes. So right now, my sweet spot that I basically did my whole prep and have been doing my whole, training blocks is in the 230s. I'll compete and I have to weigh in on day before competition. So in this case, April 21st, I have to weigh in less than basically at 219.
Okay.
Because I'm lifting in the 220 class.
Okay.
Now, this will probably be my last meet at 220 just because I found my sweet spot in the 230s. Right now, I've
Yeah.
recognized that the next class up is 242. So by me staying in the 230s, I can gain muscle and still make 242 very easily. Right. So I think I found my sweet spot, but I've already committed myself mentally to hitting this 220 because there are actually in the federation I'm lifting in the single ply class, I'm trying to hit 2 national records in April. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah. So, but I have to be under 220 to do that. so,
And
so
is that at the meet? What meet is that? I think, Emma, didn't I send you a thing with the meet on there?
yes, this one's
Yeah.
called the Meet at Main Street. It's at Main Street Barbell, April 22nd, in Toledo, Ohio. Here, so I'm hoping to hit the national record squat and deadlift in that meet.
What number? What number are you shooting? What is that?
So I'm shooting for the current record for squat in the single ply. Me being ancient here, I'm out of the open class. I fit into an age category here.
1 sec. Single ply. Are you talking about a lifting suit?
Yes, I'm talking
Okay.
about squat
Squat
suit,
suit.
bench shirt, and deadlift suit if you choose.
Okay.
Um, so I will wear those. But so in there at 220 class in my age range of 33 to 39, because I'm too old to be in the open, we'll call it.
Yeah.
You're still always in the open by default, but
Yeah.
I also fall into this sub master category. It's kind of offensive, right? How
Yeah.
dare they call me a master at 34 years old? Uh, but yeah, so there it's I think the record is 638 in the squat and the record in deadlift is 585. So the interesting thing is the 585 I pulled 600 raw before. So in training. So to me, I think I should get that one pretty easily. But the squat one, I've only done 600 in training, but I'm feeling very comfortable in my suit with people that I also train at that gym. So I know who the spotters are going to be. I know they're going to keep me safe. So I don't want to say I could be a little more reckless, but there isn't the safety factor. Like you don't know who's spotting you. You don't know if they're
Yeah.
going to get you right. So I feel a lot more, I would say, comfortable in that setting. I'll probably go for a 650 squat. So
Nice.
Nice.
You are a beast, man. I'm telling you.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I lift. I call myself, I wouldn't say I was a bodybuilder and I'm not a power lifter. I'm more like a body lifter, right? So I lift reps kind of like a bodybuilder, but every so often I like to push some weight.
Sure.
So and I'll do some, I'll go in and do some sets of 5, and things like that just to be able to push a little weight. And so I follow bodybuilding, but when I watch videos, I look for guys like you. I'm like, I want to see this guy lift some heavy shit. So,
Yeah, yeah. That's the funny thing is I get this every once in a while on YouTube when I'll post shorts or a video on it. I'll get that random comment. Too bad his good is spilling over his belt or something. That doesn't bother
yeah.
me. But I laugh because I'm sitting here like, okay, if you actually brace properly against a belt, there is no choice. You're going to have spillage over that
Yeah,
belt.
I've
Yeah.
seen your pictures, dude. You are not a fat guy.
Well, right. So
Yeah,
no
you're
matter
good
what,
at if you're wearing the belt right and bracing, yeah, you're
You're like,
absolutely.
sorry, I have skin and organs.
right, exactly. Like, so that's kind of once I got past that, I'm kind of like, okay, look, everybody's going to be out there saying whatever they want. I don't really care as long as I'm happy doing what I do and how I do it. But
Absolutely.
I think that's also kind of with powerlifting gets a bad rep for the perspective of you see some of the bodybuilders and CrossFitters who are also in really good shape almost all the time or decent shape at least most of the time. And then you see there's powerlifters where it's powerlifting and strongmen kind of go hand in hand, where the people look sloppier. If you're doing a body comparison, they look a little sloppier, and they just don't care about that. And I think that overall, when the goal is to lift as much as you can, there's no competition in the world that says I'm the world record holder of back squat with a 6-pack.
No.
There's no body fat measurement. There's no my arms are 24 inches or 13 inches, and how many veins can you count in my forearm? Right? There's none of that. So that's kind of where I think it gets a big misconception of yeah, but you look like you had too many
To mention
pies.
the necessity of it. when I've followed Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall and all those guys for years. Like I said, I love watching powerlifting and strongman. And they've talked about that. The necessity, if you're lifting the kind of weight that you guys lift, and you do not have that internal pressure and that extra weight that you're carrying, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to blow things apart.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I think that I've focused more on now is when I go into the meets, like I have to be better. One thing I've identified I have to be better at is having actual nutrition the day of the meet. Like I always bring food with me, but I never consume enough because after I get done squatting, I'm like, oh man, I don't. Last thing I want to do is eat something. So I'm about to, might heave it up in 5 minutes. But then how can I go there and try to be the best bencher I can? And then after bench, how can I be the best deadlifter I can if I'm not fueling myself? So that's something I know personally I need to get better at. But it's also not like, oh, I'm going to go pound a 12 pack of donuts real quick. You have to get something that works with you. And that's something I've learned over my, 2010, at least 13 years of paying attention to my nutrition is I know what works for me. People laugh at me all day at work because I bring seriously 5 to 6 meals with me to work every day, and all of them have rice-based carbohydrates. And they're like, "Don't you like corn? What's wrong with wheat bread?" Nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that. If that works for you, great. It doesn't work for me. And so if I sit here and have rice cakes, cream of rice, and white rice with soy sauce, like I have no issues. I could eat that and go lift in 5 minutes. I have no issue. You put any kind of wheat or corn in there, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, and that like goes into kind of what me and James had talked about previously, one with Chris, and then also on the coaches corner, just talking about like every person affects differently. Like for me, I can't sit there and eat a bunch of pasta and feel great. Most people can't, but there are some people that have that genetic makeup where they can break down like those kind of processed grains where it is in pasta form. I can't. I will blow up like a damn dead cow on the side of a road and I'm in pain and my stomach hurts and I'm nauseous and it's just bad. And so it's funny that you say that because there are a lot of people that are like, well, pasta's not that bad for you, or go eat a sandwich, it's not that bad for you. It's like, no, it's not. You're right. But if I know it physically puts me in some discomfort, whether that be bloating or you have to sit on the toilet for 3 hours, why would you put yourself through that?
Amen.
Like I'm not going to go tell someone who's lactose intolerant, well, it's not that bad. Just go drink some milk. No, I'm not going to do that.
Well, yeah, it's funny you say that because it's crazy how little of the things you don't process well affect you. So, like for me, when you say lactose intolerant, I don't consider myself lactose intolerant. I consider myself lactose sensitive
Yes.
because I can have some of the lactose free dairy, have no issue. Greek yogurt, have no issue. But if I have any kind of like cow's milk, I'm a hungry hippo at that point. And it goes even into ice cream. Like I don't even have a bowl. Oh, just have a couple scoops of ice cream. To me, a couple scoops or a quart and a half both do the same thing. I'm both in distress and feel like a pile of dog shit. So
yeah, and that's the case with a lot of people. Like it's crazy to think that someone. It's funny because it comes from people that don't care. I guess for lack of a better word, care about their nutrition. They really don't understand the complexity that goes into the food that you are fueling your body. It's equivalent to saying someone that prefers the high premium gas and then you being, well, just put it's the same thing. It's going to make them run. No, or getting, getting full synthetic oil or just getting, like, no, it's not the same thing. It's going to run it differently. It's going to when you're running the higher grade stuff, it's going to, and that engine life is going to have more longevity to it. So it's the same thing with the human body. If you're pumping it full of crap, sure, it tastes fine. Sure, it is calories. And at the end of the day, it is in your macros or whatever, but it's not quality.
right.
It's crap in all honesty. And it's going to make you feel like crap.
And that's something like I've gotten over with some of my people I work with, and it took my in-laws a little while to understand this, is that, yeah, you're right. I could have that corn muffin. Oh, hi.
Hey there, guy.
There he is.
I could have that corn muffin. I could have that cupcake. But at the end of the day, like, I would prefer to feel good than taste something good.
Yeah.
Right? And like not even the physical aspect of it. But I mean, we had a Christmas party at work, right? And back during the holidays, and they had all this food and cakes, ice cream, sodas, sweets, like fat food. And I wanted some so bad, but not only did I not feel like crap after not eating it, but mentally I felt so good because I was like able to like keep myself from actually messing with that food. And so there's that mental like feeling too as well because you're proud of yourself. You're like I was able to say no to the crap food, say no to drugs and make the conscious decision that you're proud of yourself because a lot of people do not have that self-control. They can't look at a cupcake and be like, "No, I don't need that. I don't want that." A lot of people are like that. A lot of people. And that's why America has it is the most obese country in the entire world because we're pushed that stuff, we're pushed that product, that highly processed grains, hydrogenated oils. It's terrible, and these people cannot say no to them because they're addicted to it. And then you meet people such as like yourself, James, myself, and we always indulge in this stuff. We indulge in it. We always do. We always will. But when we know that we're able when the situation presents itself, we're able to say, actually, no, I'm not going to eat that right now because I don't want to feel like crap. And then when you don't do that, you feel fantastic about yourself because you were able to control your urges. And it's just so gratifying.
Yeah.
And what's funny is the people at work for me, they're always like, you never have a donut at work here with us. Why don't you ever have this? I'm sitting here like saying, like, okay, look, I'm gonna have a donut. I'm gonna have a donut today, but I'm gonna do it when I want to do it, where I want to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
Big
So it's
thing
like
too. I was going to say before we get cruising too far down the road, a big thing too is a lack of knowledge and understanding. So nutrition is so behind when it comes to like the medical world and stuff. Most doctors, believe it or not, take one nutrition course in med school and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Your average Joe out there that studies and learns about nutrition is usually better informed and has a better understanding than their private physician that they
Yep.
go see for their health. And that and consistency, right? When you're consistent with your diet, if you're eating consistent foods and then once in a while you throw something in, it doesn't derail you like
Mm-mm.
going down that road for a day or 2 days or 3 days and then trying to get back on track. If you're just cruising along and you, like you just said, Matt, you go, hey, I want a donut, and you have a donut, and then the rest of the day you're just doing your thing, it doesn't derail you.
And
It doesn't
it
mess
goes
with your
flip
system.
too. It goes flip too. They could eat like crap and think, "Oh, I ate good twice this week. Why I still haven't lost any weight?" Well, that's why. At the end of the day, everything comes down to consistency. Whatever you are consistently doing, that will be your result. If you are consistently waking up late and not managing your time, you're going to be late to work. If you're consistently eating like crap or eating really good, you're either going to be really healthy or you're going to be really fat. It that's what it comes down to. It really does. And it's just crazy that a lot of people don't have that nutritional understanding, doctors included, and that is why they're prescribed pharmaceutical drugs rather than, oh, hey, maybe we should look at your magnesium levels, maybe we should look at what you're eating. Maybe that's why your arthritis is so bad. Maybe that's why you have so much joint pain because you're eating stuff that causes inflammation in the body, not let's just prescribe you pharmaceutical drugs.
So funny
So,
story on that. I'll divert here for 2 seconds because this is a rabbit hole that we could go down for probably about 14 hours because it also ties to the rabbit hole of what's wrong with our world today, where we need everything now and nobody wants to work for anything. But
Correct.
mhm,
funny story you say that about oh, here's some drugs, here's some drugs. So when my wife and I first started dating, she was actually diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at 12.
Oh,
So
mhm,
she, as long as I've known her, it was drug, 5 hour infusions of medication followed by 2 days of basically bed rest because
mhm.
her joints hurt so bad she couldn't really do anything. Then they started moved off that and they're like, well, let's try this drug, and it turned into the let's go with you and let's go with you and let's go with you, and then next thing you know, she tried them in the wrong order, or the doctor tried them in the wrong order, and her mid-back blonde curls turned into a shaved head because her hair fell out from psoriasis. So she went, and then all of a sudden it came cancer questions. Oh my gosh, you've got cancer. We're so sorry. We're so sorry. And she didn't have cancer. She just had psoriasis, which is a sister to rheumatoid arthritis, right? And so then she got to her rheumatologist, and he was like, you know what? We've tried 5 different meds. None of them help. Let's try this. Eat no meat. Just go dietarily, have no meat. Still get protein, still, research this, but don't eat meat. Let's just say she's eaten meat 5 times in the last 5 years and is off all of her arthritis meds.
See, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And it's
food
awesome
and
that she was able to.
Yeah,
it is. And it's awesome that she was able to have a doctor after probably years of pharmaceuticals, but finally a doctor say, okay, maybe my 12 years of education plus all my internships of just knowing medicine, maybe we should look at the nutritional side of it. And lo and behold, it fixed it. And I think people have a lot of, I mean, it even with vitamins, supplementing vitamins. I tell people all the time, if they're sick, I'm like, go take vitamin D3, go take some fish oil. And they look at me like I'm crazy. But they're like, no, I'm going to go take NyQuil cold and flu. Or I'm going to go take some amoxicillin for my cold virus. I'm like, why? Don't even get me started on treating viruses with antibiotics that does not work. They're like, well, I get better after a couple of days. Like, you have something called an immune system. You were going to get better regardless. And now you just disrupted your gut microbiome with amoxicillin. But I digress.
When we have our meeting later this month and you see my bag, Emma, I have everything in there, man, because I take vitamin D, fish oil, magnesium, potassium, zinc every single day, especially because I sweat so much, right? I work out twice a day. I sweat a lot, so I need those minerals, those micronutrients back in my body.
Yeah.
I'll spend all night cramped up.
Yeah, people don't realize. I mean, I've didn't even realize how vitally important magnesium is for women, especially. So if anyone's listening and they have terrible PMS symptoms, they've got cramps, their flow is too heavy, they are moody, the mood swings. Start supplementing magnesium. Yes, start supplementing magnesium and see what happens, because I guarantee you it'll be night and day. 9 out of 10 women are severely deficient in magnesium. 9 out of 10 women. So that is a lot of people that do not get enough magnesium in their diet. A, because it's all processed full, and also B, because they don't supplement it. So making sure that you're supplementing magnesium is so, so, so important, especially for women, especially if you have mental problems where you're depressed, you have anxiety. It's crazy. But these people don't talk about this stuff. I mean, I have a lot of my friends, they don't believe me when I tell them to start supplementing vitamins. And I'm like, I tell them vitamin D3, and they're like, I don't need that vitamin. I'm like, do you understand vitamin D3 is processed as a hormone? First of all, it's not processed as it's a hormone. You need it. You go outside, you get sunshine. Why do you feel better? It's vitamin D. That's what that is. And so you taking vitamin D3 is necessary for your body to function. People that are surfers out in California, they still are deficient in vitamin D, and they are out in the sun all day long. So it's important that you supplement those kind of vitamins, because at the end of the day, that could be the difference between you going and getting a pharmacy-sized, prescription for a million different drugs, when it's something you could have fixed over the counter through diet and supplementation of vitamins.
Yep.
Okay, I said my piece.
I wasn't going to stop you.
It's good.
I love it.
It's awesome. Love it.
But yeah, no, I'll tell you something, just supplementation, and not even talking like mainstream, like Axe and Sledge supplementation. I'm talking about just nutrient supplementation.
Yes. Micronutrients
has definitely changed a lot of things for me. So for somebody who doesn't like vegetables, I know that's like falls into the majority of human beings who just like vegetables. Ew. I have found one vegetable that doesn't cause me crazy side effects that I can't handle. So I roll with that, and happens to be green. It happens to have a stalk and a little end that makes your piss smell like rubber. But
Yeah.
That one makes
Love
me,
asparagus.
yeah, I have that 3 times a day. And,
Yeah.
between that and the micronutrient supplementation, like I actually feel good more times than not. But I can definitely tell when I miss a day of my vitamin D3, the magnesium, the multivitamin, and I forget what the fourth one is already off the top of my head. Anyways, if I don't have those, I feel like totally different.
See,
And
Mason knows. He's like, "Did you take your vitamins yesterday?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "You're in a bad mood." I'm like, "Fuck off."
It does make a difference. It makes a difference in the way the body functions and all those things. I mean, it's very important. That's where I think a lot of people underestimate the value of blood work. Even
Yeah.
if well, I don't take anything. It doesn't matter. Blood work
Mm-mm.
is going to tell you quickly if something's going wrong, much quicker than anything else will. Getting your
Yeah,
blood
and
work done is very
that's
important.
it's so important. I'm not on anything. I'm not taking any PEDs. I'm not taking any SARMs. And I have not ever gotten my blood work done. I think I did when I was pregnant, but I didn't even know what it didn't I didn't look at the results, or I didn't have the results read to me. They pretty much just said I'm fine. And I told James about it. I was told by one of my girls that I coach, her dad's an internal medicine doctor. I was telling him about some of my symptoms where my fingers will go numb, my arm will go numb. And he kind of put a little seed in my brain again, was like, you should probably get blood work done and you should probably see if you're pre-diabetic. And I really hope to God I'm not. I'm extremely healthy, but how am I going to know if I don't take care of that? And so
Yeah,
it's better for me to go get that done now, take care of it now, than when I'm in 10 years and all of a sudden I need to be on insulin if I am diabetic.
yes.
100%. Not to mention the way medicine works nowadays, everything's in a normal range, right? And that normal range is
Mm-hmm.
huge. So, and my normal's not your normal or your normal, Matt. I mean, when, I was feeling, about a year and a half ago, I was feeling terrible. I was lethargic all the time. Libido was gone, just felt just terrible. Uh, Tired, wasn't sleeping good. I went and got blood work done. And I found out that my testosterone was 220. So 220 nanograms per deciliter. And my urologist was like, "Hey, we should put you on a TRT dose and see what that does for you." Now, I don't take a lot. I take a 100 mgs a week, man. That's it. And it keeps me at 400. Usually every time I get blood work, I'm like 400, 450, and I feel fantastic all the time. I'm 51 years old. I feel awesome. I sleep 6, 7 hours a night and I go, 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 go. My friend, his number is like, I think he's at like 280. He's outside of normal. So normal is 300 to 1,000, I think,
Mm-hmm.
nanograms per deciliter.
Yep.
He sits at like 280, but he does not take TRT because he feels great. So his normal is not my normal,
All right.
right? I need to be in that 350, 400 range. He's fine hovering around 300, and other people need anywhere in between, right?
So funny story about that. I'll digress to a little history since you're talking about testosterone levels and ranges, right?
Yeah.
So so when I diverged to the dark side of performance enhancing substances, when I got done with that, I found out that I was almost dependent upon them to make me feel like I looked good. And that was kind of the end of the bodybuilding time frame when I
Yeah.
went full bore CrossFit. And I didn't come off properly. I did the cold turkey approach, which I highly don't recommend anyone ever do. So I did that because I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of sticking myself. I'm tired of all this. I'm just done. And so part of probably why my CrossFit didn't help my body composition at all, but digress there. So then it was right before I started powerlifting. I kind of ballooned up when COVID first started. I started working at home, got a little plump, a little thick, and once again lethargic. At the time I was 31, like having zero interest in any type of sexual activity, and I'm like, who the hell am I, right? I shouldn't be like this at 31. And went and got my levels checked. 302. Doc says to me, well, you're within range. Yeah. And I'm like, but I feel like, just put a sloth, bury me in the ground. And that's about how I feel. And then
Mm-hmm.
we'll come back in 6 months, take these precautions, watch your diet, do some exercise, etc. We'll come back, we'll test in 6 months. Okay, fine. Go back and test in 6 months, 303. See, it improved. You're making great strides. No, I'm not making great strides. I'm pretty much the same damn place I was.
Yeah.
So I took from that point, I was like, you know what? If this doc isn't going to prescribe me anything, because clearly she thinks I'm perfectly fine. So I went and self TRT'd, and then came off properly after 12 weeks. Then had my blood work done again, and I went from 301 to 303 to 550.
Yeah.
And I was
Wow.
off for 3 months before I did came off properly, stopped all of it, waited 3 months, and then had my blood work done. And I was up to 550. So
Rebooted the system.
yep. And
Yeah.
then in May of last year, I had the next round of blood work done, and I was at 550. So I'm like,
Beautiful.
you know what?
Perfect.
I it was just that needed me to get back to feeling normal.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's, as you mentioned, everybody's normal is different, right? But like I feel back to myself. And clearly I've been making great strides, and my performance has been great. But overall, as a human being, it was like I felt just like a bland, boring potato
Mm-hmm.
that had no charisma. I felt like I joined the world of Debbie Downers, where
Yeah.
I couldn't see a glass half full if you paid me $1 million to.
Yeah, I was just dragging all the time. It was just tough to get through the day. And what people don't realize is in males, testosterone levels are very important for the immune system, for the interaction with other hormones, overall well-being. It's not just the sex drive hormone. It does so much for a male's body, and when you have that right, you will know night and day the difference. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I pop out of bed in the morning, I'm ready to go. I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning. By 5:30, 5:45, I'm doing my abs. I'm doing my little seated cardio because my foot's still busted in half. But I do what I do in the morning, and then I work out in the gym in the evening, and I feel great.
And
Yes,
I think a lot of people think that testosterone is just male. Like they hear testosterone and they think men. That's
no,
not the
women too.
case. Females have testosterone, females have estrogen, men have estrogen as well.
Yes,
And I guarantee you that if you just tested someone who is on a plethora of medications to try to control their anxiety, depression, whatever the issue is, if you tested their testosterone, if you tested their estrogen, if you tested their progesterone, they would all be out of whack.
in the
Every single
tank
one of them.
probably. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's crazy. So hey man, to not we don't want to go down a full supplement program here, but when how are this show that you're getting ready for? So what are you? You're 5 weeks out,
6 weeks today.
6 weeks today.
Mhm.
How does that progression work? Going do you like kind of build up your just keep building up towards your lifts, then kind of back off and then hit the show? Is that how you do that or
Yeah, so what I'll do, or what I've done in the past, is it'll kind of be like status quo till 4 weeks out. And 4 weeks out, I'll do theoretically my heaviest squat. Uh, it's called Circa Max. If you ever want to go down an interesting
yeah,
powerlifting rabbit hole, it's called Circa Max. And basically, what it is between band tension and straight weight, you will do X amount above what your normal lift is.
yeah,
So between band tension and straight weight, it'll be like 120% of your max. And then the next week it'll be slightly less than that. It might be 105%. And then the next time it'll the 2 weeks out will be like your last squat session, which will be like 95%. So you're kind of weaning down, you're working up to it, and then you kind of wean down so your body recovers. And it's not like you're doing a fresh, balls out squat a week
yeah,
out. And then the last week is almost just like doing, for me, it's like doing different circuits, probably 2 or 3 upper body circuits in a session, no more than 45 minutes. Keep the body moving, keep blood flowing, giving your body a stimulus and allowing it to recover, but not such a stimulus that you can't recover. And then I'll probably take Thursday. Usually my schedule is Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'll probably go, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then not lift Thursday, Friday going into Saturday. But that's usually how it goes. There's a lot of different things. A Circa Max is not required going into a powerlifting meet. There's people I know that at the gym at Main Street that I lift at, there's some of them that will just keep doing their program straight into and treat that Saturday, since they do lower body maxes on Saturday, no different than any other lower body max. And it just happens to be with a singlet on.
Yeah.
Or a squat suit on. So it kind of falls right in, and they build their program backwards. Because usually what happens is you have a D-Day, and then you build backwards.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, 3 weeks out, we're doing this. And then you plan it going out. So right now, like this week, so I'll do my max, upper body max tomorrow on Sunday. And part of that is heavy, like 140% unracks, where you unrack it and just hold for 10 seconds and then rack it. So you get used to, so you're training your body to be able to hold more than you're going to do.
Yeah.
Makes kind of sense. It was the same way with squatting on, earlier this week, since I was at the chiropractor today on Saturday. I'm not lifting on Saturday. So I did my maxes the other day. And in that, after that bow bar max, I then did walkouts with an axle bar. So it's a fat bar that doesn't spin.
Yeah.
I loaded that to 140%. So I had like 680 pounds on the bar. Unrack, walk out. Even though in the meet I won't walk out, I walked out, stood there for 10 seconds in my start squat position without squatting, and then re-rack. So you get used to that load being on your back.
Well, it triggers the nervous system. So I used to do the same thing to squat for reps. So I would get warmed up, like when I was on leg day, I'd do my abductors and abduction and adduction and some extensions and leg curls, and then I'd do a light set of squats, and then almost double the weight and get to the point where like I was in a heavy set of 3. And then I would take it off. I'd get myself 60 seconds rest, dump the weight to where I do my reps at, and I could rep it for days. And my legs would blow up, even though it was a heavier weight. It's not like, it's, I'd throw, I'd put 225 on there and do a set of 15. It's like easy, which for me was really good. But I just did a set of 3 with, like 325s. And then put 225 on and was able to rep it out. So it gets the nervous system engaged.
Right. And that's the hardest part for me is when I go and do some of these maxes, some of them absolutely wreck my nervous system.
Oh yeah.
I had one a couple weeks ago where I did a set of 5 in my squat suit. A heavy set of 5 was the max. And so with my suit on, I did 510 for 5. And I'm not a napper at all. I think I slept for 3.5 hours in the middle of the day because I completely torched my CNS.
Yeah, it'll wipe you out. That heavy stuff is no joke. It's no joke. When you're moving heavy weight, it wipes you out. It really does. People are like, yeah, but they do 5 reps and they take all kinds of rest. They rest 2 to 5 minutes between sets, and I'm in there doing sets of 10 and 12 and resting 30 to 90 seconds. They can't be tireder than me. No, moving weight when it comes to the nervous system. You know who talks about that all the time, which is a great story. What's the guy's name? Michael Hearn. He has lifted heavy his entire life, and he's in his 50s, and because he's lifted heavy and kept his nervous system engaged. I don't even care about the whole gear discussion. Is he on? Is he off? But his tendons are strong. His ligaments are strong. His skeletal system's strong. The nervous system's strong. He's not as prone to injury as the average 50-something-year-old dude, right? And it's so important to lift some heavy things from time to time. It's good for the body's overall health.
Absolutely. Well, and there's nothing that, even if you're just in the building muscle phase where, it's, science says that, having hypertrophy or time under tension and all that is like, more of an optimal way to build muscle than doing 1 rep maxes. I will not dispute that. However, if you don't ever test yourself, I find like that's a problem. Even when I was back in bodybuilding, is like, this week I'm doing 4 sets of 10. Oh, I always start at the 35s. But how do I know I'm getting stronger? How do I know I'm getting
Yeah.
better if 4 weeks straight of starting at the 35s and doing the same increases? Or how do I feel today? If you don't track that.
Yeah, I track everything. And Hani Rambod talks about that all the time. He said, listen, yes, hypertrophy training is different than strength training, and it's mainly to shape the muscle different, to give it that 3D look. But a strong muscle is a big muscle.
Yes.
So his idea is, yes, I want you to lift do a lot of reps, but I want you to do a lot of reps with a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you repping 25s. I want you repping the 55s or the hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be able to grab, most of these guys will grab 120, 20-pound dumbbells and do, sets of 12 to 15 with them, working up. And you got to track it to know. 100% got to track it.
Yeah, and that's something I've become a geek on, a data geek. I track every set of every weight, whether I'm using accommodating resistance or straight weight or chains or what. I track it all. I'm actually like 3 months. This is embarrassing to say, 2.5 months behind in logging my data sheet because work's been quite crazy. But I basically have up until Christmas logged over the last 2 and change years.
Yeah.
Just of poundages I've lifted. And it's not like to say, look, I'm better than you because I've lifted all this weight. But for me, how do I know if I'm getting better?
You're
How do
not that
I
kind of
know?
guy anyway. Just my
Right.
engagement with you over the years, you are
Right.
not put it in your face, dude.
No. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's something I can hang my hat on. Like, look, how did I get my squat from 435 to hopefully 650,
Yeah.
besides putting on a squat suit? I've squatted, done different variation of squats that total like 2.4 million reps or 2.4 million pounds over the last year and a half. So yeah, I've put in some weight, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I keep all that data because I'm just a nerd when it comes to that kind of
Tracking's
stuff.
key. I don't care if you're powerlifting, bodybuilding. Tracking is very important. In bodybuilding, obviously, everybody does check-in photos a lot, and they underestimate the importance of that as well. But you can when you're bodybuilding, right? You're not just trying to build big muscles. You want them to be symmetrical, and you're looking for a certain shape, that X frame. I mean, I've watched, I know you've seen Heidi Wacker, and I've watched hers and Emma's quads blow in the last 12 months, right? Like go from no quads to quad sweeps through their work and the things they're doing. They're tracking their stuff. I've been able to see that progress, and I
Yeah, but you
love
don't want to
seeing
ask
it.
how much I squat or how much I like press because it's nothing.
It doesn't matter if you're getting if it's heavy for you, that's
Hmm.
what counts, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And
but
that's
like that's
where,
exactly the difference. Is like some people want there's different aspects to it, like Matt, you want to get strong and you are getting strong, and people like just kind of to go back a little bit how y'all were saying people think that 1 rep, 2 reps is how are you getting tired off of that? Those people don't understand what ATP is, first of all, and your body stores it. And when you're putting yourself like when you're saying you're loading that extra weight, even though that's not what you're about to do, you're just loading it. That is like triggering your brain to think, oh crap, we're about to have to release all this ATP to try to get this up and down again, or whatever the case may be. And like it's the same thing that happens in a situation where you're about to die, or you hear these stories where moms can live hours off their babies. That's the adrenaline and the ATP. The body is releasing all that at the exact same time. And I guarantee you, after that situation, they are exhausted because all of that ATP, all of that adrenaline has just been pumped into their circulatory system, and then it dissipates. And so people don't take into account of that. But with the high reps, yeah, like for me, I don't really care to be strong. I just want to look a certain way.
all right. And that's what I was going to say is like, I listened to your guys' podcast with Sin, and
Mm-hmm.
it really hit home to me because I've tried all these different types of I've done, I think, every kind of competition out there except for, the silly, we'll call them Spartan or obstacle course races. I was into
Yeah.
that at one point, and then I said, look, cardio's not my thing, so why would I try to do that? Why would I intentionally be miserable? But, um, you know, touching on something that was said there, just as a throwback and a callback, like, at the end of the day, does it, unless you're competing in a sport that has a weight metric, does it really matter if you bench press with the 55s or the 45s or
No,
the 35s?
no,
No. Just
Yeah.
like it's in the same vein where it's like once again, there's no prize for most shredded power lifter, right?
no.
Yeah.
It all falls in the same thing. As long as everybody is doing something that they A, love to do, B, can track and progress and be better and be excited to do, and three, as long as they wake up and are excited to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It pains me inside knowing that some people just wake up so that they can either be negative or find the glass half empty, because you know it's one thing I embark at work is there's so many, like, you're in the office and there's just like a lot of the
Like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to be here.
It's because
you're
they
right.
didn't get their Prozac, right? Training is my Prozac. It is what
People
it's
just are
like.
negative.
Mental just gets me going.
Right.
Yeah,
And
You
and
so,
know?
that's what we talk about in the office is like make sure you're staying active, like at least doing something because at the end of the day, like you need that activity, whatever it be, just like what Sin said, you need the activity to just jumpstart your brain, to jumpstart your hormones. It's necessary because it makes you happy and it will release those endorphins in your brain. But as long as you're enjoying it, but there's always going to be negative people. People just they cling to negativity. It's so
mhm.
easy to see the negative stuff, but the people that stand out are the people that can see the positives and point those positives out rather than point out the negatives.
Yeah, and that's, geez. And there's one thing that I do in the office.
Earthquake.
Yeah, right. Damn, dude. Um, the one thing I do in the office is, I will go around and do wellness checks. I call them wellness checks, where it's as much as a wellness check it is for me to not be looking at my computer for a few minutes. I look around and walk around, up and down the couple aisles where there's people that are on our team, and I go, "You good? You good? You doing okay? Can I help with anything? You good? You good?"
Yeah.
And just to put a smile on a face, but also, let them know that somebody cares, because I feel like there's also a part of that where it's like, well, nobody cares about the struggles I'm going through. When, quite frankly, if you were willing to potentially talk with some people about them, there are more people out there that care. They just don't. It's funny. I feel like people don't want others to know that they care.
Embarrassed,
It's
maybe. They
like
get, yeah.
it's embarrassment. I don't know why. I'm not really sure because I've had the mentality before and I'm like, is it weird if I ask them if they're doing okay? And you can't once you get over that mental block, because it can be someone's saving grace. They could be having a terrible day. They can be on the verge of doing, just doing something that they're going to regret, whatever it may be. And someone going out of their comfort zone and say, "Hey, man, like you doing okay? Like, is there anything I can do? I'm just letting you know, hey, I just felt like inclined to talk to you and just make sure you're okay." That could be someone's saving grace. And it almost is like embarrassing to go and ask someone like, are you doing
Yeah.
okay?
People, they get embarrassed. Yeah.
At first I was like, should I do this? Is this just going to make people feel weird? Now it's almost like I'll get a message saying, hey, you didn't stop by to see how I was doing today. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Yeah.
people enjoy that I do that. I'm
Expect
like,
it.
you know
Yeah.
what? That
I
actually
don't
makes me
care.
feel good.
I don't get embarrassed, so it don't bother me. I'll ask anybody anything.
No, and I think that, but that's also the thing is, like, people want others to care, but they don't want to ask for help.
Yeah, that
Yeah. A lot
it
of people
really
don't want to ask for
comes.
help.
It's that pride, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I got this. I don't need anybody else. I can do it on my own. No, you can't. None of us can. We all need help from outsiders.
Yeah. That was me
Um,
like 2 weeks ago.
yeah, we all need that somebody at that certain time that just says, whatever. How you doing? You look good today. Well, can I help you with something?
Mm-hmm.
Just anything. It makes a huge difference, and we all need that.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
not just from, I think, our spouses and friends,
right.
but it's nice when a stranger, like, one of the things, maybe this is my ego and not has anything to do with anything else, but, I busted my foot in half a year ago.
Mhm.
I still train as often as possible. I got this stupid pro boot thing. It is ugly. I'm telling you right now. But I go to the gym every day, and I'm in there, and these high school kids, they'll come up to me, they'll be like, dude, man, you're killing it, bro. Look at you out here in the boot doing it. Like, and we just have conversations, or even older guys are like, oh, it's great that you're in here doing this, even though you're injured. And I just explained to them, first of all, it makes me feel good that they recognize that, yeah, I'm doing something that isn't necessarily as easy to do as it used to be. It's a little bit more difficult. There's certain things I can't do. But I'm in there doing it, right? And what does Emma always say? She always quotes Goggins, why are you doing that? Well, because you're not, right? I'm gonna do it because you're not. I want to get in there and do the best job I can with what I got.
Absolutely.
It's easy to make excuses, and it's the same thing like that applies to my job. People are wondering, how are you still writing? Like I leave at 5 o'clock when I'm supposed to be doing, booking my schedule for the week. They're like, "You're already done?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Like whatever. And then I go write, business. And they're like, "What? How are you doing this?" I'm like, "Because I want to, and I'm going to." And so when people are sitting there telling me excuse A, B, and C, excuses are only as good as the people who make them. And that's a fact. So you have
Yep.
to be willing to put yourself, if you only have one leg, go get to the gym. Just do one leg press. You know
Do
what
what
I
you
mean?
can.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've seen guys in there with prosthetics. I've seen
Yeah.
guys with one leg doing stuff. I've seen people missing an arm in their lift. There was a guy at my old gym used to cruise through the gym in his walker.
Yeah.
60 something years old. He'd use that walker with one hand so he could carry a plate and load the chest machine.
Yep. That's like my
And
nana
people would
going to the
stand there and
gym.
stare at him. That's
Yep.
enough to do that. Lift with him, be his partner. Right?
Yep. That's like my nana. She's 76, I think. And I got her to start going to the gym, and she goes in there with her little purse and her little workout outfit, and she's walking and she says hi to everyone. She has her little trainer and she does her little lap pull downs. I'm just like, there's no excuse to why you shouldn't. I'm not saying go to the gym, but there's no excuse as to why someone shouldn't be active in some way, shape, or form. We're not designed to sit in a car, sit at work, sit in a car, sit at home, go to bed. That's not what we're
That's
designed
it.
to do. We're designed to push ourselves, to develop our bodies, to develop our brains, to learn, to grow physically and mentally. And people that, I mean, I guess that's what some might say that's what the government wants is to just be a bunch of, you ever watch the movie Wall-E, where they're all fat and they're sitting in the chairs and they're just like
Yep.
zoned into the TV at them. Some might say that's what the government is trying to do, and that could
Yeah.
be a fact, but you don't want to be like that because at the end of the day, you're miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
You're
got to the point.
constantly chasing dopamine.
Right. I've got to the point where it's like I go to work every day, and my job isn't really one of those ones where it's cookie cut from 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Where I have calls with like people in India and Brazil at 7 a.m. And then there's times we'll have to log on at 8, 9 o'clock at night because of an urgent issue. So
Mm-hmm.
so with that kind of being spread out, I find myself like for a while it was like the woe is me, like I can't believe I have to log on here, like, and there's nobody else doing that, why do I have to do that? But then I kind of got to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm going to embrace my time, I'm going to respect my time, and I'm going to command respect of my time. Well, I
Yep.
understand that, we're in different time zones, but at the end of the day, like, is something that I'm going to attempt to do at 8 or 9 o'clock at night going to do anything that I can't do at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning when I'm usually get to work anyways? No.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've gotten better managing my time. Now, what that's also done is opened up other projects that I can do because my I'm antsy. I can't sit still for 10 minutes unless my CNS is rocked. So like I'm conceptualizing my personal next project, that I'm kind of going to work through. I'll kind of give a little tease here because it's in conceptualization. But my wife and I work with a animal rescue. We have 1.5 fosters upstairs, and are about to have another one in kind of like a
1.5.
I'll get there in a second. And we're about to make it 2.5 with a dog outside in a homemade like kind of like dog shed, we'll call it. Where it's a
Yeah.
home for a dog, but it's outside and it can go outside and sit on its own little porch, but it's
Mm-hmm.
within a shed and has its own little space. Yes, 1.5 because it's really 2, but we've committed that we're going to adopt the 1. So we haven't done the paperwork 0.5
Yeah.
portion to officially adopt.
I
There
was
you go.
expecting like half of a dog.
No.
Oh no.
That's why I'm saying we have
His little
1.5
wheelchair.
fosters. Because we have 2 of
That's
our own.
good.
So we'll have 3 of our own
Yeah.
and 2 fosters at our house.
We
Gotcha.
we love dogs here too. We our little Miss Piggy, that's what my wife loves pigs. So she named our dog Piggy. She's a little kind of bull terrier pit bull mix. Sweetest little thing you ever see. But yeah, we love her to death. I wouldn't know what to do without that girl.
But yeah, so I'm doing this project as part of like I'm gonna kind of do multiple branches of it where I'll have like a personal side where it's like designs that I want, and then there's going to be a donation or a charity side where I'll have a couple designs where if this is ordered, all the proceeds will go to the charities decided,
Nice.
because I feel like that is, it's something where some of the one dog or the rescue, it's not a dog rescue because we have cats too in it, but the rescue itself, there's a lot of things that go into it, but I feel like there's not enough people that are providing
Yeah.
that kind of outlet, right? So,
Mhm.
and that's the one thing, just to vent real quick. I was probably been a part of multiple rescues. They come up with shirt designs that are all feminine, and that's no disrespect to the people making some things, but I can't wear a shirt that's got this bright red lips or a big bright red heart on it. Like that's very, that's
Yeah.
great for women and great for grandmas and great for kids, but not for adult men.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of going to be my next project, is going into this kind of a charity typed work, which is a lot of fun on top of the other things we do,
Yeah.
like my wife and I. She works for the YMCA. She works like 60 hours a week. She's in Northwest Ohio. She's the director of healthy living, so she is in charge of running all of the healthy living programs within the YMCA, which
Yeah.
is a task and a half. But on the side, we also make soap at home. So we have our own
Oh,
little soap shop. So we hand make little soaps.
Oh, that's
That,
awesome.
and this is one of them that's packaged, officially packaged with the wrapping and all. But we've got different ones. Like this one's my favorite. This is our muscle relief, which is like
oh, nice.
it's got like icy hot properties. So when I really kill a workout or tax my CNS, I go shower with that and I scrub out some sore muscles and a couple treatments of that, and I feel great. So we did
You
that on
selling
this side.
those?
Yes, we do.
You should send me, email me some info. I'll make sure it's linked in the description.
Okay, yeah, it's actually on my
Yeah.
Instagram. In the link tree is kind of
Okay.
a link to it as well.
Perfect.
But yeah, we do that as a side project that we started a few years ago, almost like a COVID project since we were all
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
We make the soap in our kitchen,
Nice.
and we've actually done a handful of parties. We actually had one guy who's a demo crew member, for example, who has his own business. Over the fall, we made, I think it was 150 bars of soap for him, and
Huh.
he gave them out as like promotional things with orders that came in. Uh,
Nice.
we've done wedding showers and baby showers for or as like favors. Uh, those kind of things. It's still a lot of fun, and it's not a hard process to make. It just takes time, right? If you're willing to
Mhm.
put in the time, you can do whatever you want, right?
That's
We're gonna have
awesome,
to
man.
change your name to Matt Freakin Deakins, the Soap King.
And that's also the nice thing is I could tell you all the ingredients that go into the soap. I haven't bought a thing of soap in probably 4 years.
That's
Like
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, that's
we just
good.
make some, and I'll grab a bar and go shower with it. The last couple of weeks, I smell great, I feel great, and
I'm gonna have to get some. I'm always on
Yeah,
the
there's
hunt
some
to
that's
actually.
find some good soap.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
and we've shipped to almost every of the 50 states in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
So
Oh,
awesome.
that's
Great
awesome.
job. That's
yeah,
good.
so we really enjoy it. It is a bit of a time commitment, but if we have a long week, there's also we've got a few soap orders we got to put together, or we're out of this soap, we got an order for it, we got to make more of it, and we make
Yeah,
some of them come 10 to 50 bars at a time, depending which soap and how much time we
Yeah,
have.
that's awesome.
So yeah, we do that. We enjoy that, and so it's kind of a different outlet. It's something for us to do together while we have our separate jobs and our separate hobbies. That's something we do together. And
that's awesome,
while
man.
Well, I'm colorblind, so I couldn't tell you what the hell colors are in half of these. Um, and she's good with the formulas and the scents. And oh, this periwinkle looks so great mixed with this sweet lily blossom. Cool. Yes, dear. I'm more of like the operations guy,
Yeah.
and I work with the shipping stuff because I work in supply chain, and she does the formulations, and we make them together.
That's
So
awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, hey Matt, I know that Emma's gonna have to be grabbing her son here shortly, so I think we're gonna wrap this up. We
yeah,
definitely want to have you back on, and definitely are rooting for you at your show. And anybody out there, as soon as I get the results when he posts them, we'll put them on our stuff as well because we're rooting for you to break those records.
Mm-hmm.
And it, you're a fantastic human being. You're a good guy. I know you are in the demo crew and have a code with Axe and Sledge. We'll link that along with the soap. And thank you so much for coming on. You have any last things you'd like to say there, Matt?
yeah. No, just real quick. You never know what somebody has going on, so always smile and always be kind. Because their appearance doesn't assume they have problems, there's a real good chance they do.
It's one of the
And
reasons I end with "Don't forget to smile."
while you may not think that because they drive that Bentley or wear that suit, you think their life is good, they can be fighting demons just as everyone else is.
100%.
100%.
Emma, any last
And
words for you here?
I kind of said a whole bunch on this one. I think I'm good.
You're rocking. I love it. Well, hey, everybody. Thank you so much. All of our subscribers, please subscribe. Check out Matt. He has some great shorts on his YouTube. If you want to see some of his lifts there, we'll post the link in the description along with his other social media. He is a great guy. He is a beast in the gym. And he's also a very hard worker. As you can tell, he's got lots of side projects out there. So remember, everybody, you get out there, you work hard, peoples, and don't forget to smile. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook at Work Hard Peoples LLC or Instagram at Work Hard Peoples LLC. You can also find us on our website at workhardpeoples.com. Have a great day or night. Don't forget to smile.